Hi, thank you, Boy, and thank you, Maria, for invitation.
Right. So, Andrei, please tell us what has actually happened. Like, how do we make sense? How does the Eastern European audience, which is the majority of our the audience of our program, or like people from the West interested in our region, what was the most important thing that happened over the last 72 hours? Because we are getting bombastic headlines like, evacuation from Donetsk People's Republic, evacuation from Luhansk People's Republic, call on all healthy men to stand up, take arms, and prevent what is being described as Kiev's aggression. On the other side, Kiev says we have no plans for any aggression. We're not doing anything. There are blasts. The kind of gas infrastructure that has blown up in Luhansk People's Republic. There are some reports about kindergartens being attacked and all the rest. Like, please try and help us and our viewers and our listeners make some sense of what actually happened over the last 72 hours.
First of all, I will try to use only facts and some suggestions, my suggestions and explanations of the situation. Concerning the last 3 days or last 2 days, there are two important facts which I think were interesting for the foreign spectators, for the foreign experts. That the continuing, the ongoing process of the information war between Russia and West, and on the other hand, between Ukraine and Russia. And the second fact is very important, as you mentioned, Boyan. This is escalation, but escalation not very unusual. I mean,
Mhm.
during last 8 years, we saw a lot of escalations like this. And for the majority of the Europeans who are not fully involved in the information situation in Ukraine, it looks like very special now situation. But for Ukrainians who know deeply inside the situation, especially for the soldiers or Ukrainian soldiers who fought in the east, and for Ukrainians who are originally from the east of Ukraine, where there's a border between Russia and Ukraine, the situation is unfortunately understandable. And concerning the information situation, the information war, I knowing the foreign languages can read foreign media, and knowing the Russian language, I can read the Russian or Belarus or the Russian speaking media of the post-Soviet countries. And I cannot say, unfortunately, I cannot say that both parts are adequate. I would say that a lot of personal expressions and a lot of personal estimations of the situation, and a few facts only we have in Western and Russian media. And I think if you want to understand the situation better, you should ask Ukrainians, first of all, because we are inside the
Sounds
problem.
logical. Yeah.
Yeah, we can advise to the West or to the East what we see. And the escalation, which is now going on in the west of Ukraine, and I think it will be in the nearest 2 days, unfortunately, it's a part of some kind of hybrid tactics of Russia, first of all. So I think that the escalation, the tense which we see now in informational sphere, this is one kind of tense from the Russia, because we saw during last 2 weeks, Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, The Economist, they wrote a lot of about the possible attack by Russians, but there wasn't any serious signs of such kind of attack. There was a readiness of Russians to to show their power, military power, but not to attack. But now we see the escalation in Donbass, which also it's very difficult to explain, because it's very difficult to explain what is the final aim of Russians to use the pressure now. Maybe it's negotiations, maybe it's another part of hybrid war, maybe it's another part of demonstration power. So even for us, for Ukrainian analysts, it's very difficult to understand what is the final logic of West when they show the imminence of the Russian threat, and what are the logics of Russians when they try to use the situation in the east of Ukraine to justify their actions in the future.
Okay,
Well,
so
I want to.
can I just sum up so that I make sure we're on the same page? You're telling us now that the situation as it is, as we can see it, as we can observe it, is of course dangerous in and out of itself, and it has been dangerous for the most part over the last 7 or 10 years. But it's not really exceptional from the point of view of the people on the ground, because you have been through many such info war shenanigans,
Yeah,
and you've seen that in the past, and so on and so forth. Yet you're not exactly sure what is the end game of the Russians putting
yeah,
pressure right now. Okay.
absolutely. You're right. When there are two very important, unusual
Mm-hmm.
facts which has happened yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
which we
Mm-hmm.
didn't see, for example, during last 7 years. First, the total mobilization of the separatists, like they
Mm-hmm.
say, or pro-Russian separatists. They announced this mobilization, and the second fact that behind or between the Russian border and non-controlled border by official government of Kiev, which is actually controlled by separatists, there is a huge amount of military infrastructure for helping for refugees, like they say Russians,
Mm-hmm.
which can go from the not controlled area of Donbass. So this is a very serious two facts which were not
This has
which
never happened before.
This
yeah,
has
yeah,
never
yeah. And
happened.
this is it shows that it can be another variant of the evolution of the conflict, or another variant of the scale of the conflict, I
Yeah,
would
but
say.
it doesn't have to lead necessarily to all
Uh,
out war. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.